Yes.
Woo! Yeah, there's somebody here! Woo! Go, go, go!
A boy!
Hey everyone, welcome back to Holtzfeller Woodworking. My name is Alan. Yeah, it's been a while. Where has he been? Well, this has been an eventful year. A few really terrible things happened, and some really great things as well. But in the middle of all of that, I have been remodeling my bathroom, which I thought would take a few weeks, which then became a few months, and now it is a year and a half. Yeah, turns out it's a really big job. I started off like this, and then after demo day, which was really demo month, we got to here. And then I had to learn how to do electrical and plumbing and a new skylight and drywall and mudding and taping and tiling with thin set and all of that. And that got us to here. Next up, I'm going to paint and install the doors for the vanity, do the countertop, and then the custom shower glass. In the middle of all of this, though, my son went and traded this hat for this hat. My 11-year-old son was asked to play for the German national team, which meant training camp and then the Euro Championships in a small town in the Czech Republic, followed by the World Championships in Taiwan. So we've been gone for the better part of a month. I also took the team photo and the individual shots, which together I put, well, you'll see what I've made later, but it's essentially a 50 by 70 centimeter print that now needs a frame. Well, normally I would take 18-inch Baltic birch plywood, just a scrap piece, and build frames out of that. But this one's much larger and I couldn't find a scrap piece at the store. So instead, I picked up some 18 mil pre-gehobelt, already planed 4 sides, pine, which I can quickly cut, probably just cut it into pieces. I might end up changing the edges. These are, I have a slight chamfer. I might do a round over. We'll see later. But for now, let's get building a frame. Okay, so here you can see the print, which consists of the team photo and individual headshots, which are actually baseball cards I made for the kids. And then I had them sign some white cardstock and then simply lay it in over top. So the whole photo is designed around that specific size. And as you can see, I didn't leave a lot of room around the edge. So we're gonna have to get this one just right. Normally, I would make the frame first and then size the photo to fit, but this one needs to be very specific. I was able to find a piece of scrap hobby glass in the discard bin for only €6, and it was the exact right size. Actual glass is nice, but this is much lighter and can be cut on the table saw if necessary. Next up is to cut 45s, and I made a jig just for that. The trick to getting nice tight corners is to cut perfect 45s and identical lengths on opposite sides of the frame. Now, my jig might not be long enough for this job, in which case I'll have to add a temporary piece so I can use a stop block. Before I even set up a stop block, I want to cut 45s on both ends of the full piece. After measuring exactly, I cut the long pieces first. That way, if I make a mistake, I can always repurpose them and use them for the shorter sides. Here you can see I had to add an extension to the arm for the first 2 cuts. The smaller sides fit in the existing jig. We're going to need a rabbet, that's a recess for the frame and backing to fit into. Usually I use multiple passes on the table saw for this, but I just bought some new straight bits for my router, so let's go with the router table. I set the fence, and cut a test piece on some scrap first. The fur I bought came with a very small chamfer, which I'll keep for the inside edge, but I'll round that over on the outside. Before I glue it up, I want to rabbet out a small area to accommodate the wall hanger. I like when the frame sits flush with the wall. I think this frame might be a little too big and heavy for these small hangers, but there's only one way to find out. The glue up is pretty straightforward. I like to make sure I use enough glue. In this case, better too much than not enough. Especially considering this is a paint project. Any excess can be removed, and whatever I miss can be sanded out. Gluing up frames is made much easier with the addition of a band clamp. This one time? Hey, here's a tidbit for the kids. I use baking paper under the glue joints to prevent accidentally gluing the frame to the workbench. Guess how I learned that lesson? Glue is tremendously strong. In fact, it's probably more than strong enough for this frame. However, I like to make things as strong as possible, and that means adding splines. A simple jig made from scrap MDF makes this a breeze. Same thing here. Lots of glue and some splines pre-cut to the width of the table saw blade. I'm going to paint over these, so the actual type of wood used isn't really that important on this one. And when that's dry, trim it with a saw before sanding. I prefer to use spray paint for picture frames. In this case, I chose matte black, and it's best to do multiple light passes. Once the paint hardens, it's time to pop the glass and photo into place. Yep, I even painted the back. Even though you won't see it when it's hanging on the wall, I still like to have it finished. I picked up one of these framing doohickeys on the internet. I highly recommend it if you do any framing at all. And secure the wall hanger into our little rabbet. And that is how you make a simple black frame for your son's team photo. Thanks for watching, everyone. Make sure to subscribe, tell a friend, and stay tuned for more. Again.